I want to also welcome to our conversation foreign policy expert Harley Lippman. Harley, good to have you on this as well. I'm not sure if you were able to listen in on the press briefing out of New York just moments ago, but once again, those three devices out of New York City over the weekend now confirmed as ISIS-inspired, and two of them confirmed now to be IEDs. Your reaction?
Well, this is what happens when you have porous borders and you allow people to come in without vetting. We're seeing some of the consequences of that, perhaps. There are ISIS and Iranian and al-Qaeda sleeper cells in the United States. And it's a real issue that our law enforcement has to deal with. So sadly, tragically, I'm not surprised. And this is something we have to be vigilant against. And it's going to haunt us for quite a while until we're able to disarm these sleeper cells.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, over the weekend, Iran naming Mujtaba Khamenei to succeed his father, Ali Khamenei, as the supreme leader. We saw some images as we came to air. We were efforting him and trying to get him, but large gatherings of people spilling into the streets, holding the Iranian flag with photos, images of the new supreme leader. We understand he's a hardliner. Suggested to be more radical, Tony, than his father was, alleged to be behind the crackdown on protesters in recent months. Yet you see the residents and civilians spilling into the street carrying flags this morning and photos of him. Your reaction to his appointment first, and then I'll go to you, Harley.
Yeah, so he may be a radical, but he's still a guy who buys a lot of real estate in London. This son of the great leader has been out and about doing things in the West. He's been essentially enriching himself. Did he order the crackdown on the protesters? Could very well be. But the bottom line is this, I think Pete Hegseth, the Department of War, has clear guidance. I think our campaign will continue. And I don't mean to be blunt, but I don't think if he does not reach out to President Trump and seek some sort of a rapprochement regarding the war, I don't think he's going to be the leader very long in Iran.
Your take, Harley. The president was very clear when asked about this new supreme leader that this was not acceptable.
Yes, I agree with the president. It's not acceptable. He is a hardliner and really symbolizes exactly what the Iranian regime represents. They're completely corrupt. These are people who use religion to enrich themselves for billions and billions of dollars, while the people in their country suffer and live under oppression and poverty. This is one of the reasons why what President Trump is doing is about liberating the Iranian people, and only the United States could do it, unfortunately. If there was any other way for the Iranian people to rise up, they would do so, but they don't have any guns. And the bad guys have the guns. There's over 1 million of them with weapons. Mm-hmm. And we saw in 2 days, they slaughtered 32,000 Muslims. So he is a hardliner. He is not someone we can make an accommodation with. So he is someone that really has to go.
I want to just bring in our audience to the conversation and share, gentlemen, as I look down on the bottom right-hand side of our screen, there is a briefing going on at the State Department. Secretary of State Marco Rubio is expected to speak in moments. So as soon as we see that, the secretary take the microphone there, we are going to be going there live. But continue our conversation with the two of you. The president was asked on Air Force One over the weekend about the potential need for boots on the ground. He said he would not be ruling out and then ruling it out. And then Caroline Leavitt asked again. She repeated, saying the president is leaving the door open for a potential boots on the ground invasion in Iran. Tony, militarily, it's estimated that the Navy's gone in Iran. We've taken out 90% of their missiles, 80% of their drone capability. Why would we need, okay, gentlemen, just a moment. Secretary Rubio's at the microphone. You know what my question is going to be for you, Tony, when I come back.
And holding.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio was taking a moment at the beginning of this ceremony. He's at the State Department here, a flag-raising ceremony to honor, observe U.S. hostages and wrongful detainees. The objective remains very clear: to destroy their missiles and destroy their ability to make them and terrorize the region. Let me bring back in our guests, Tony Shaffer and Harley Lippman. Good to see you both once again. Thanks for hanging with me on this. So, Tony, to you, I was about to ask you, if we've taken out their Navy, 90% of their missiles that they currently have, about 80% of their drones, why would we need boots on the ground if it comes to that?
Well, it's the size of Alaska. So we've been looking at this sort of scenario since the 1980s. I've been looking at this since I was a lieutenant. And the answer is we would not want to actually have to take over the entire country. There may be specific urban centers or areas of interest, such as refineries or other strategic ground nuclear high sites. And I suspect we've already got some level of boots on the ground that are special operations related, but I don't envision the need for a full-scale invasion. The Kurds have offered to come in. The president said we don't need them right now. I think it's one of those situations where we'll see how things go over the next 7 days, and then they'll determine if there's some level of on-the-ground military force needed to assist those trying to rebel against the government to help them.
Haley, a lot of moms and dads here at home are worried about their sons and daughters being committed to another forever war in the Middle East. The president has been very clear on his timetable. It does not seem to be what he is imagining for this conflict is that we would have to move in the direction of boots on the ground. To your point, Tony, we could have some there already in the form of intelligence, human intelligence. But to those moms and dads, Haley, what would you say to them this morning?
I would say that sometimes, while war is always terrible and to be avoided at all costs, sometimes you need a limited small war to prevent a much larger catastrophic war, as terrible as war is. And why you may need some special forces on the ground, as your guest said, nobody envisions a full-scale war with troops taking over the country. I don't see that as being feasible or realistic to happen. A great example is Pickaxe Mountain. When the United States and Israel took out the nuclear facilities at the two areas in June, we thought we knocked out their nuclear facilities. We didn't. We didn't even know there was a bigger nuclear facility at Pickaxe Mountain that went even deeper. So the point is, you can't know everything. Americans like quick fixes, but this may take longer, but it's to make the world a lot better safe, and it'll make American families safer.
Foreign policy expert Harley Lippman, my apologies on getting your name incorrect there, sir, and also retired Lieutenant Colonel Tony Shaffer. Gentlemen, thanks so much for being with us this morning. A lot of developing news here on the air. Appreciate you hanging with us here. President Trump turning up the